Hello, and welcome back to Heavenly Postbox. This is the channel where we try to deliver the unconditional agape love of God found across all 66 books of the Bible. For our regulars, how did you enjoy our 6-week series?
That was a journey.
It was. We just finished the Bible reading guide through the lens of love last week. A long journey, but honestly, we were so happy to have you with us.
That's right. And actually, that whole guide was a special series. It really came from the passionate requests of you, the listeners, who wanted to start the new year by, grasping the flow of the entire Bible through that theme of God's love.
Yeah.
But now, starting today, our Agape Archive deep dive is returning to the original theme we had planned. So, I heard you've prepared a pretty powerful topic for our first session back.
I have. Today, I've brought a topic that could be considered the highest, most daunting wall in understanding God's agape love.
We are going to talk about hell.
Wow. Okay, so we're just jumping straight into the final boss of topics.
Straight in. I mean, honestly, the God of love and eternal hell, they just feel like oil and water, like two concepts that cannot mix. My heart feels a bit heavy just hearing the word.
I understand that. But if we don't solve this riddle first, that nagging question, if he loves us so much, then why? Will always be there in a corner of our hearts.
Right.
So today, we're going to face it head on. And I hope by the end of this conversation that lingering doubt turns into a profound certainty.
All right. Let's do it. Let's face these tough questions and break through them together.
Okay, so let's kick this off. How can this unconditional, self-sacrificing love agape coexist with the place of eternal punishment? It just feels like a logical contradiction.
It does, and that is the primary barrier for so many people, both believers and skeptics. The key, though, is to look at hell not as a torture chamber created by some vindictive deity,
Right.
but to look at it through a completely different lens, through the lens of free will, justice, and the very nature of evil itself.
Okay, but let's start with the origin story. I mean, the simple logic is God created everything, right? So he must have created hell.
And if he built the prison, he must have intended to fill it. That's the argument.
Exactly.
But that's the first big misconception. The sources point us directly to Matthew 25.41. Jesus is describing the eternal fire, and he says it was prepared for the devil and his angels.
Okay, so it wasn't originally intended for humans.
Not at all. The key insight here is that hell wasn't designed for us. Think of it more like a quarantine zone, a necessary separation for the spiritual beings who rebelled.
So when did this separation happen? I mean, in Genesis, everything God creates is good. Where does this fit in?
This is where St. Augustine's work, The City of God, is so helpful. He looks at Genesis 1, where God separates light from darkness, and he argues this isn't just about physical light. This darkness isn't a substance God created, it's the absence of light.
So it's not a thing in itself.
Yeah.
It's just where the light isn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's a concept called privation. Like cold is just the absence of heat. In the same way, Augustine says evil is the privation of good. It's a lack, a hole.
So God separating light from dark was like a cosmic hygiene measure.
Cosmic hygiene. I love that. Yes.
Yes.
It's about protecting a holy order, separating the contamination to preserve the good. It was an act of justice, not just punishment.
So to boil it down, hell is essentially a place where God is not.
Precisely. If God is the source of all life, all joy, all light, then a place totally without him, by definition, must be death, misery, and darkness. It's a state of self-exclusion.
Self-exclusion. Okay, let's pivot to the human element. If it wasn't made for us, why do people go there? I know the sources bring up C.S. Lewis on that.
They do, and this is probably the single most important concept to grasp. Lewis famously said, "The gates of hell are locked from the inside."
Locked from the inside, meaning the person in there is the one holding the key.
Yes. The argument is that God doesn't send people to hell like a judge sentencing a criminal. He doesn't want anyone to be there.
So what happens?
God simply ratifies a person's lifelong choice. If someone spends their whole life saying to God, "Leave me alone, I don't want you, I am my own God," then in the end, God tragically respects that choice.
But wait, the Bible uses language like, "Depart from me"? That sounds pretty active. That sounds like God sending someone away.
It does, but we have to see the distinction. Think of it this way. A man is drowning, and you throw him a rescue ring.
Okay.
He spends all his energy pushing it away, shouting that he doesn't want your help. Eventually, he goes under. Did you drown him?
No. He drowned because he refused the rescue.
Right. God is holding out the rescue ring. Hell is the tragic result of a lifetime of refusing it. Lewis puts it this way. There are only two kinds of people. Those who say to God, "Thy will be done," and those to whom God, in the end, says, "Thy will be done."
Wow. That's a chilling thought. It completely reframes it.
It makes it about God's tragic respect for our dignity, even our dignity to choose our own destruction.
But then I have to ask the big question. If God is all-powerful, omnipotent, couldn't he just make everyone love him? Why not just override our free will to save us?
That's the classic omnipotence paradox. And the answer is that being all-powerful means God can do anything that is logically possible. He cannot do the logically impossible.
Like make a square circle.
Exactly. And forced love is a square circle. It's a contradiction in terms. Love, by its very nature, has to be freely given.
A robot programmed to say, I love you, doesn't actually love you.
Can't. So, in order for God to create beings capable of real, genuine agape love, he had to create beings capable of rejecting him. The terrible possibility of hell is the necessary shadow cast by the glorious possibility of love.
That brings up another fascinating point from the sources. Why is there a redemption plan for humans, Jesus, but not for the fallen angels? If hell was made for them, why couldn't they be saved?
It comes down to the nature of their fall. The angels fell in the full light of God's immediate presence. They knew exactly who and what they were rejecting.
There was no deception. It was a calculated choice.
An absolute, fully informed rebellion. But humans, we fell under deception, the serpent's lie. We live in a world where God is somewhat hidden, where we are confused and fragile.
So our fall was different, and so the response is different. It's a rescue mission.
Exactly. And that ties into Satan's whole strategy. His
Yeah.
goal isn't just to be king of hell, it's to drag God's beloved children into his prison of self.
The prison he builds with a lie. You will be like God.
Yes, and hell is the final, horrifying realization of that wish. It's a universe where you are the center. You are your own God, totally isolated, trapped in the echo chamber of your own self for eternity.
That is a terrifying thought. So what about God's emotional posture in all this? How does he feel when a human chooses this path? Is it anger? Satisfaction?
No, not at all. The sources point to Ezekiel 33.1, and I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. God is not a cold magistrate. He's a heartbroken father.
So it's not about vengeance.
It's about grief. The ultimate proof of his heart is the cross. God already paid the highest possible price, the life of his son, to keep anyone and everyone from going there. He has done everything he can, short of violating the very free will that makes love possible.
He's already shown his hand. He wants to rescue everyone.
His posture is one of deep, deep sorrow. He's like a parent watching their child insist on walking into a fire, despite all the warnings and pleas and offers of rescue.
So to bring this all together, hell isn't proof that God's love failed.
Correct. In a deep, paradoxical way, hell is actually proof of how seriously God takes us. He doesn't treat us like pets or machines. He treats us as sovereign beings whose choices matter for eternity.
He respects our no enough to let it stand.
It's a kind of tragic courtesy. Hell is the place God prepares for those who have made it clear they can't stand to be in his presence. He is giving them what they've always asked for, a universe without him.
And that really underscores the urgency and the beauty of the invitation that's open now. The rescue ring is in the water.
That's the gospel. The door out of that isolation is wide open, and God is pleading with us to walk through it.
Everyone, how did you find today's session of Agape Archive? I know it was a sensitive and heavy topic, but I truly hope it helped you discover the tearful love of God and the profound respect he has for us, hidden even behind the concept of hell.
If you have any questions about today's story or any lingering curiosities about God's unconditional love, please leave a comment at any time. We will absolutely prioritize your questions for our future content. And don't forget to support the Heavenly Postbox ministry by liking and subscribing. We will be back next week with more warm and deep stories of agape. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.